We met in high school in grade 8 when Brent came to MEI for high school. And yeah, we decided to get married 3 years after high school. When we first got married, we knew we wanted kids, and for me, that was a huge thing in my life, and that I always knew growing up that being a mother was something that God had placed on my heart, and I knew that He had for me.
I've always wanted to be a dad, and I've been so excited for my whole life to share that with my future wife, and it's just been a journey that my whole life has kind of been leading to raising a family.
Like a lot of couples, it didn't happen the first time for us, and so it was quite a few months later that I actually was in a pretty bad car accident, and it just happened to be that day that we actually found out a lot of medical information about myself that was keeping us from getting pregnant and from pursuing having a baby.
Olivia was crushed by the news, but there was always hope that we could fix the problems, and that our medical system today had progressed enough so we had options to get through. And so it was kind of check the next thing off. What can we do to get one step closer to being able to have a baby together? And so although she was very sad and so at times felt hopeless, she did find ways to cling on to hope that we were going to get there, and that we would be able to get pregnant.
For Brent, just the way that he let me see, he was very strong, and kind of how he's been through the whole process of it is he just took on the role of the leader, and that he was going to be strong for me because I was obviously a little bit more emotionally unstable with the news, and he was incredibly strong, but I know there was a lot of sadness and hurt for him too, which he tried to hide, but he was a little bit transparent. But yeah, it was a lot of times, especially if you're in a situation with fertility where it's the women's issues and stuff, you think, well, it's not that bad because the guys, it's not their fault, but a lot of the times, and I know just from our experience, like the guys, it's just as hard for them. They may not have the physical things to go through, but it's emotionally for them, and trying to be the providers and to take care of their wives, it's hard because they can't fix it. And that was, for me, that was really hard to watch because I knew how much he was hurting inside too.
You always kind of think that when it's your time to go for a kid, it's going to work out perfect, and as so many things in life, it just doesn't happen the way that you think it's going to happen. And this was one of those ones I just don't think we were expecting. And
Yeah.
so it rocked our world. Over the months to follow, there were some really good days and there were some really, really bad days. And it's really tough on her and on us together, as we tried to decipher what to get emotional or frustrated about, and when to park those feelings and trust in the Lord, that He has a plan for what's going to happen next.
In church one Sunday, as I was sitting there listening, I was praying, and I had God speak to me very clearly, more than I think He ever has. And He told me that me and Brent were going to have a son, and that his middle name should be Samuel. And I thought this was very specific, and so it freaked me out. It's hard to deal with specifics like that. But Samuel means that we ask God for him. that evening we went to the rain service that we have on Sunday nights every 2 weeks here, and I was just praying, and I felt like, okay, well, if I'm gonna get confirmation, you have to share. And so I was just talking to my mom-in-law, and I was like, okay, something kind of crazy happened today, and this is what God spoke to me. And I started crying, she started crying, and she was like, well, we all know that you've always wanted a girl first, so this obviously isn't from you. And so we just prayed about it then and asked for God for more confirmation. And then the following day, that next morning while I was getting ready, my sister texted me in the morning saying, Liv, I had the craziest dream last night. It was so weird. You and Brent had a baby boy, and he was so cute, and I just have been thinking about you and what you're going through, and I know that God's gonna do amazing things. And so for me, that was just like the confirmation that I needed. Like, she had no idea I hadn't talked to her, and so I took that as confirmation, and just that was something that kind of got the ball rolling, and something that I prayed into, and that God would fulfill his promise, and we would have a son, and he'd be healthy and amazing.
We went to see the elders at the church to get prayed for beforehand, and they anointed Olivia with oil, and we prayed that God would heal her body, and that the surgeon would be able to fix all the things that needed to be fixed.
We got to the post-op appointment, and everything went well, but then for me, it was a really hard appointment because we were told that we had to wait for another surgery. And so yeah, that was really, really hard to hear. And for me, just, yeah, I had such high hopes, and they kind of got brought down again. And so we felt really discouraged, I think, at that point, just waiting for a phone call of when that was going to be able to happen. Normal day. I had a very busy working day, and so did Brent, and we went and watched Brent's youngest brother go to his prom, and afterwards we were going to be helping out some good friends of ours move into their first home. And so we were there, and every month I have to take a pregnancy test just because of the way the hormones are and everything. There's no way to tell if you're pregnant or not, so that month I had not taken a test yet. Picked one up just on the way to their house, and didn't really think anything of it. Pretty much just assumed it was going to be negative, like the hundreds I had taken before. And it was positive, and it was instantly positive, and we were very shocked because we were supposed to be waiting for this next surgery. But yeah, so that day started our journey, and that we were pregnant, and we phoned our cousin who's a doctor, baby doctor, right away, and she just kind of like had to tell us, like, you guys, it's positive, there isn't false positives, like you're having a baby. And at that point I was on 0 medication, and we had just basically only healed from that surgery, and that was it. And that part anyways wouldn't have affected us getting pregnant, so it was a complete miracle. And so it was huge for us, and we weren't expecting it at all.
On January 22nd, we got to meet our son at 2 a.m. at Bo and Samuel Driedigers, and we've never been so excited about anything in our lives, and we cannot wait for every day. We were told by doctors that we were not able to have children without serious medical intervention.
We were given a promise from God that we were going to have a son, and at that point we thought it would only be through the medical intervention, but we pressed forward and still prayed, and we sought prayer with the elders of the church, and God answered our prayer in a miraculous way. Our God is a God of making the impossible possible. 1 Samuel 1:27 says, "For this child I have prayed, and the Lord has answered my prayers."